I don't know if it's my Christian faith or what, but I just don't feel like murdering a baby is right. I don't think because to me it's murder. However, that's my feeling. I at the same time think that if you want to get rid of your baby, that's your choice. And ain't nobody got no business trying to tell you what you can and cannot do. Because it's not like that. I don't think somebody would choose to abort a baby just because they don't want to have the responsibility of a child. In my mind, although I'm sure people do that. In my mind, if you're aborting a baby, it's something that is tied to it. That's the only alternative, and it's the best alternative for you and that would be person. Um, so that's how I feel about that. And I think as followers of Jesus Christ and us really, really, really been in the ministry of love, I don't think that we can solely and exclusively um, want or expect others to align their life choices with our faith practice. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair to do that. So I can fully believe that you shouldn't be murdering a baby. And I can fully believe you should be able to choose to do that if you want to do that for yourself. I don't need people to believe and have the convictions that I have. And I don't expect them to. And I think I'm not operating in love if I attempt to do that. And to see these Supreme Court justices and now these pastors and all these people online, making it a biblical thing and what is right and what is proper and this is a spirit. And we do understand, that the death of children, it can be draw a parallel between that and the child sacrifice in the Old Testament to the god Molech. We can draw that conclusion. We definitely can. But I still don't think that the world or America should be ran according to a certain group of people's belief and faith. And I think that this overturn of Roe versus Wade was done by a Christian's power. And that's not right. Because we see wars start like that, religious wars, where people want their faith, their belief to be the way that the country is ran. And that's just not right when you got a world of all different types of kind of people. It's not bad. So that's what I think about it. So I don't know if that makes me pro-life or pro-choice, or I don't know. Just like I don't want anybody putting no label on me in any way, form, shape. I don't want anybody put no label on me as racist abortion stance. Because, like I said always, God is this and that, not this or that. And I feel like that I can believe both. That a woman can choose. I can also believe that you should kill your baby. I can believe both of them. What y'all think?
You are pro-choice and pro-life. That's what I am. I summed it up very quickly. I said to a friend of mine, okay, the abortion law can stand, but let's legislate a law that says men cannot jack off except for on Mondays. Let's make that a law and see how they feel. If we can pass that law, then we can have abortion. Otherwise, don't tell me what the hell to do with my body.
Right.
It's mine. It's up to me, and it's between me and God. I don't believe babies should be aborted, but I'm not going to tell anybody, oh, you can't do that. Just like I'm not going to tell them you can't eat pizza, or you can't buy a Maserati, or you can't live in Florida. That's up to you. I'm busy living my life. Do you, boo, as they say.
Right. Exactly that. And that's how I feel. It's both. What you think, Erica, Lisa?
Well, being that I have an experience with abortion, but prior to me having an abortion, of course, I was taught that abortion was wrong. I was taught that, um, that's murder. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't, that's what I was taught. But when I found myself in a situation, um, sleeping with a pastor, the person that I was pregnant by wasn't a good person to me, and wasn't a good person. And I did, and immediately I saw when I found out I was pregnant. Immediately I saw down the road that this was not going to be a good situation for me. So immediately I was like, God, I said, I don't know how I'm going to recover from this, but I don't want this baby. I said, I cannot have this baby. I don't want to be connected to this man for the rest of my life because he's no good. I shouldn't have been with him anyway, and all these sort of things. So all that stuff came to my mind, and I made a decision. Um, and of course, the pastor was in agreement. They gave me half of the money in cash. They looked like they got out of the offering plate. They gave it to me,
They did.
and I went to the abortion place by myself. Um, Fortunately, when they looked to see, they was like, "You must be like really early because we don't see anything, but you positive on the pregnancy test, so we're gonna give you the medicine anyway." And so I didn't see any fetus. I didn't see anything because I think had I had seen that, I probably would have changed my mind. But there was no heartbeat. There was no nothing. They were just going by a pregnancy test that I was pregnant. And so the stuff that I had to insert that thing in my vagina. And then I thought I was okay until I started bleeding. And then when I started bleeding, I had to start interceding because it started messing with my mind. And I prayed and I asked God to forgive me. And it took a long time for me to feel like I was forgiven. But I want to say right up until I think I made a post about it. I recently just let it go because I had been holding on to it for a long time because it really messed with me because I really didn't believe that way. And when I told my mom, she called me a murderer to my face. She was like, "You know you're a murderer." And I was like, "Mom, can you have some little bit of sympathy here?" She
She
didn't
was
have
straight
any.
up.
She didn't have any. She said, and I said, "Mom," she's like, "Well, I don't care. You a murderer and you shouldn't have did that." And so I had that in my mind. And on top of that, it was a lot. It was a lot going on. I wasn't where I needed to be spiritually and all that kind of stuff. But I can say when people make that choice and they really ask for forgiveness, God forgives them. And a lot of people try to say that's a sin that you cannot be forgiven for. That's not true. You can be forgiven. So I'm telling those that are listening to me that has had an abortion, you can be forgiven. You will be forgiven. You just have to forgive yourself.
My stance is more on the policy side of how abortions have somehow been connected with the evangelical, specifically white evangelical movement. And so now so many people like view that as their voting stance, but it was sort of ingrained right around Ronald Reagan's presidency, where the census had come out and it was looking like the white race was eventually going to be overtaken by other races. And so he had policies and public messaging put out, um, trying to get the white evangelical church to uh, connect with anti-abortion measures because the main people that are getting abortions are white women.
80%.
And Catholic women because they don't believe in birth control, and evangelical women. The people that are aborting the babies the most are white women.
Yes.
And they don't want white women to abort their babies because they want the population to keep growing.
Right. 80% of, well, sometimes 70, sometimes 80% of the babies aborted are white women children. And since they legalized abortion during that period. 67 million babies were killed. So if you look at that with 80%, you're millions of white people that would have been born were not born, and that is definitely a motivation. It has to be tied in there somewhere.
Oh, the link I sent y'all, if you want to type in like NPR and then put like + white supremacy + abortion, it'll pop up. And then the thing is, these politicians are really just doing it because of a lot of like pork barrel spending, and trying to like check the boxes of what their voter base wants, because their voter base has been convinced that this is what they want. But there's a national formula shortage, which was the only way that I could feed my baby. There is mass shootings killing kids everywhere, every day, and you're not going to get rid of guns, but you're going to get rid of abortion. And so my biggest thing is, if it was down to me at this point in my life, obviously I would say I would want to keep a baby, right? But earlier in my career, everything would have changed if I would have chosen to have Avery. Like, I would have probably had to quit my job, because the only reason why I didn't have to quit my job when I was pregnant with Avery is because I got to work from home. But I was sick for 4 months. I lost almost 30 pounds. I could barely function. I slept all day because I was growing a human in another organ. And I was so sick. And you know how many people like would have to quit their jobs, give up their careers, and you're telling people, I don't want you to live off the system. I don't want you to be a welfare queen, which is a very racially coded word. But if you don't want these people to get welfare, you don't want their kids to live off of the system, then you should let them be able to make the choice to abort their baby if you don't want to support them. And so the biggest thing is, a lot of these politicians are pro-birth, but they're not pro-life. They just want the kids to be born, and then they don't want to have to support them anymore. And they don't care if they get killed in a mass shooting. They don't care if they don't have formula to feed them.